So, continuing on with the Great Race of Yith, after they have been annihilated by the Flying Pylops. This, of course, as we explained, is not the end of the Yithians. Their power to transfer their consciousness to the past, future, and their great intellect means that as long as they plan well, then they can manipulate events to ensure their survival. In this case, they foresaw their demise in their current bodies against the Flying Pylops, and thus before that day, they transferred their best minds forward in time to the Beetle folk, or the Coleopterus race, which will be Earth's dominant species after the human race. One speculation for transferring themselves to this period is that by then there are no Flying Pylops at all, and thus no chance of another war with their arch enemies. Admittedly, knowing that a beetle race will succeed us is no assuring fact, but sadly, I can say I'm actually surprised we have survived up to this point thus far. Now thankfully, we have evidence of how a takeover by Yithian is like. The most famous account comes from Nathaniel Wingate Peasley, who likens the experience to a spiritual possession. The human body is taken over by a Yithian, and in Peasley's case, he was seen as insane for his strange behaviors in his human body, and Nathaniel's spirit, so to speak, was in the body of a great race of Yith. In this form, he was sort of a prisoner, as he had no way of leaving his new body, but was not treated cruelly. Instead, he was given some freedom if he cooperated by telling the great race what he knew about humanity and other details. He was even allowed to wander the Yithian cities and browse their massive library, which had metal cases with books that lasted an incredibly long time and contained, among countless other subjects, the history of countless alien races. The main library city will become known as the Lost City of Panacotus and is located in Australia's Great Sandy Desert. This is also where the Panoptic manuscripts are. This tome records the history of the Great Race of Yith. It is said that copies of this text have been passed down through the ages and even into the hands of cults which guard them jealously. The captive mind would also have other benefits, such as in Peasley's account, when he talked to Titus, a Roman soldier in the age of Sulla. Once the great race had learned enough, they would allow the intellect to return to its original body, but not before removing or suppressing all knowledge of the great race. But it is not always effective, as there have been accounts such as Nathaniel's that they say they dream of their time as captive minds. Lastly, it might never come up, but there is mention of another account by Reverend Arthur Brooke Winters Halls that the great race of Yith recorded about the Yacubians, who are a race of grey worm/centipede-like creatures and are similar to the great race of Yith for mind transfer abilities, but without the time travel. They use hieroglyphic engraved cubes sent out into the cosmos, and once it lands on a planet, it is activated by light or biological engagement, and then achieves its mind transfer. It worked on some of the great race of Yith, but then they managed to store it away when it affected them. Hopefully, we will be as lucky if we were to have to deal with such a device. So do take note, my friend. So that is the great race of Yith. Among the horrors of before that I've talked about, they seem quite benign. Well, other than the manipulation of events, of history. But still, better than before, and I will happily take any happiness or good event that comes to us. So take care, sweet dreams, until next word.